everyone, and welcome to today's show. I am Gabby Luoma, CPA, CGMA, and CEO of Mod Ventures. I'll be facilitating and joining in this discussion with Felicia Robinson, the CEO and founder of Felicia's Best Personal Assisting. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about Mod Ventures. Mod Ventures is an outsourced accounting and advisory company for businesses across the United States. Our accounting team is entirely virtual and has been since 2014. Our passion is to help entrepreneurs organize, create, and predict their financial futures because we believe small, strong businesses create financial stable communities. Hi, Felicia. Thanks so much for joining us today. I did a brief intro, but I would love for you to tell our audience who you are.
That's a weighted question day to day. Is it? Moment, like, who am I at this very moment? Well, I am a wife. I'm a mom of two grown children. I've got a 21-year-old son who's coming home from studying abroad in Australia tomorrow. And I've got a daughter that's 17. She's a senior in high school. So they're both seniors, which is exciting. And been married 25 years to my high school sweetheart. And we've just grown this beautiful community here in Tucson. I'm a faithful woman. I absolutely love connecting businesses in our community and just helping people. That's truly the base core of my entire heart, was why I created this business 7 years ago. Was I knew I needed to give back in a way and put all of my skills and talents and gifts into our community. So that's who I am.
I love that. Yes. So I will add, a very creative, kind, loving friend, because you are just so great for anybody in your circle of friends and clients. You are just such a light, and you are a can-do girl, and that's what we all need in our friends and our
so true.
So
it is. Yeah.
So thanks so much for joining us today. Well, when we were talking about the topics that we would, be going over today, we were like, how are we going to really, word this and make this amazing? And so today we're going to talk about the 3 ways to keep your sanity while building a profitable business. And as we are both small business owners, and we have both built our companies from scratch, like from the ground up, we have had to really go through a lot in order to stay sane, and build our businesses over these years. So you have 7 years doing that. And so we really wanted to hit some of these hot topics and things that you are really passionate about, and spend a lot of time on social media really educating people about as well. So the big 3 was, simplification, delegation, and really creating those strong boundaries. And so I'm excited about this conversation. And so I'm going to kind of step us back a little bit to the big why. So why are these things so important for us in building our businesses?
Well, I feel that, it's taken me, I did not have this all set in place in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And so as I've journeyed along, I'm realizing, like when you asked, you were like, what are the top 3 that stand out to you for what creates a strong business? And I was like, oh my gosh. And I really had to sit and think about it. And it's like, sure, there's, the financial part, there's the legal part, there's all the things that you need to get in place, and also sharing your craft, whatever it is in your zone of genius, right? But there's so many facets to all of it. And so I realized today, the most empowering thing, if I could have someone tell me day one, when I was creating, the importance of having boundaries, the importance of not saying yes to everyone and everything, personally or business wise, being able to delegate from day one. I mean, it took me a few months in, but then man, I got it figured out real quick because I couldn't work 3 or 4 clients a day,
Yeah,
and that's how I built a whole team because I was like, there's no way I'm going to sustain if it's just me.
right,
And so, and honestly, I've always stressed upon simplifying every part of my life. So it's not just business, it's the way my brain works. So, like, if I work with a client that has a small business or whatever, which happens quite often, I have to constantly think, what's the most efficient way to run right now, And so these to me were the most powerful, strongest topics that I could think of in having a profitable business. Because without these, sure, you can have a profitable business, but if you're sick in the doctors all the time because you're not taking care of your mental and physical health, what's the point of doing everything we do?
right.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So I love that. And I think that like you, I didn't know what I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I pretty much burned out multiple times before I started to realize that, oh, you can't do it all. You need support. You need people to really help you. Um, and now I would say I'm pretty much an expert delegator. I'm not an expert in all the process that it takes to get to that delegation part.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
I definitely rely on lots of people to help us get to that end result. So learned over time.
Yeah. Same.
So when you're talking about, really having that simplified life, what does that look like for you? What are some of the techniques you really apply to your current life?
What I realized, so our first home we started out in was a manufactured home, and we were there for 10 years with our children. I
Mhm.
put my husband through nursing school, and I worked selling candles. I was a candle peddler. I was known as the crazy candle chick. And I would come in and do these epic candle parties. We would have a blast. And, I worked in the evenings once Jason got home from school. I worked weekends. And it was how we were able to raise the kids together and get him through school and for us to survive. We lived very, very inexpensively. And because I was in such tight, confined space for so long with all four of us, um, I had to constantly think, what is worthy of my space? What
Mhm.
is worthy of us having it in 1,000 square feet, because we were super limited, didn't have a ton of storage, didn't have a garage, none
Right.
of that. So because of that, it has filtered along to our next home that we had for 10 years, and now our home we've had the last 5 years. And so it's, even though we have the space now, I could have lots here, but
Mhm.
I choose to keep things simplified still, because at the end of the day, when I'm coming home, we're working in lots of chaos in people's homes, helping them to calm things down, get things in order, set their systems. I need to come home and know I don't have to worry about that in my home.
Right.
And so before I leave for my day, the kitchen's done. Like, it's good. I don't want to come home and know that I'm going to prepare a meal and I've got to clean it up first. There's
Mhm.
nothing more annoying. I just want it like, okay, we're good to go.
Mhm.
Um, so it's just little things like that. My rule of thumb is if it takes 5 minutes or less to do, just do it now.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's it. And
Mhm.
because of that, it's helped me to keep things simplified. It helps me to keep things on it. Instead of putting something down on the counter, if it takes me less than 5 minutes to actually put it where it belongs, just friggin' do it. So that's what I tell myself. I don't pick up after my children. I
Mhm.
never have. That's
Mhm.
another huge thing. So I leave it for them. If it's triggering me and I want things picked up, I just say, hey, can you have that taken care of by this day or
Mhm.
this time? I
Mhm.
don't say it and expect it done because that like triggers teenagers. I've decided that's their trigger point. So I
Right.
just say, if you can get this done by this day or time, that'd be awesome. And then I never have to say it again. And
Mhm.
then they feel accomplished because they're actually doing it as well and achieving the goal of mom and dad asked me, blah, you know?
Right.
And so that's another way of simplifying because so many of us as parents, this is what we see in many households.
Mhm.
Parents do way too much.
Yeah.
They do way too much.
Mhm.
Everywhere, all over the world, it happens. And
Mhm.
I'm just like, how can I be that beacon of helping people realize, and I do that a lot in my coaching with coaching these families, that they don't have to do it all. It's okay to have the 5-year-old put the forks in the dishwasher, and
Yeah.
little things where they can feel like they're contributing to the family unit as well.
Right. I
And
think that's a
so,
really
yeah,
great part. That's a really good point about creating a team within your own, family and helping them contribute in ways that they can be a part of it. I think you're right. I think we, um, you know, the Gen X, the Gen X, I don't know about you, but I mean, my mom worked, my parents worked. We ended up doing a lot of things. Like I cooked dinner at 8. I had to do all the laundry, all the chores on Saturday. Like they taught us to do those
right.
things.
You
And so,
contribute. Right.
and I think a lot of us did not then turn around and teach our kids the same things because we, you know, maybe had a negative experience from all that. And so a lot of us didn't teach our kids to do that, right? And so I think it's an interesting thing when you start to realize that, oh, well, everybody in this family needs to feel like they're contributing, like they're a part of it.
I also I don't know if you've noticed this, but being a business professional woman in today's society, I feel like it's almost like a notch on our belt how many things we can do in a day.
Mhm.
Like it's almost like it's expected of us. And
Mhm.
that's where I'm trying to break that stigma.
Mhm.
That it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to not say yes to something, you
Yeah.
know? And
Oh,
that's just
100%.
been life changing for me.
Well, and I think that w- if you're a businesswoman, you're probably a high achiever personality anyway. So you get a lot of validation and you feel good feelings for yourself when you are able to pull off a lot of things. But I think after time, your body's like, wait a minute, I can't do all these things. And so, your brain starts to tell you like, no, you can't do all these things. And then you have to figure out how to kind of start to um delegate. So that leads us into the next realm of conversation around delegation and offloading tasks so that you can actually work in your zone of genius. So
Yeah.
that, and
That
that,
that was huge.
yeah, it's so important for folks at work, if you're delegating at work, but also at home, obviously you don't have to be doing everything.
Right. Well, and
Yeah.
that's the whole point. Like you figure out what would take you years to explain what it is you do, right? Like you being a CPA, like your formality of training, all that, right?
Mhm.
Me, all the things that I've learned over my years. Like what would be the easiest thing to just write a quick 2-sentence verbiage and hand it off to somebody,
Right. Right.
right? So that's how I have everyone think, what's the fastest thing you could get off your plate?
Mhm.
Filing. Done. Everyone hates filing, like
Right.
um,
Mhm.
resetting the kitchen, like it, a monkey could do it. Seriously.
Mhm.
Reset, just putting dishes in the dishwasher, wiping the counter, like it's just fast stuff, but
Right.
it all takes time. So,
Sure.
like, if I don't have time to do it in the morning, we
Mhm.
all as a family unit will pick up because we all like it to be calm when everyone comes home, so we all just kind of manage the time. We know how long tasks take. And so, like with work, oh my gosh, like if it takes laundry's a perfect thing to delegate, right? Because
Mhm.
anybody can do the laundry. That's another simple thing. It could take maybe 5 minutes of instruction. Hey, these are, you just set your system. These are hand washed. These are, you just have it all ready to go. Don't
Right,
need a lot of instruction.
right.
So, whereas I could not hand off how I run my schedule
Hmm.
until I had proper training and sat down with somebody
Right.
to
Hmm.
show them. And
Right.
like I hire my team on a regular basis. I tell everybody I I don't keep up with everything either. I have someone come in. My sister is I lean into her a lot. And so she takes over and takes care of things, and it's important for us to have really good communication as well.
Right.
And so it's just been so huge because how I do my planning for the week, like I work on a Sunday afternoon. I look
Hmm.
at the schedule for the week, then I start writing down what's the to-do list, and
Right.
then I see based on each day what time block can I fit certain things in, knowing how long it takes. And
Hmm.
whatever isn't available to fit into my schedule, that's what I know to delegate to somebody.
Right.
And so that's what I teach everyone else, like our VIPs, we have a weekly service. So that's what I teach them. Sit down, figure out what only you can do.
Hmm.
Your zone of genius. Only you can do those amazing follow-up sales calls, whatever.
Right.
It's not easy. But if you just need to find out people's contact information, that would be brilliant to delegate. So it's things like that.
Right.
And
Right.
it just has helped so much, so you don't have to feel like you've got to do it all.
Yeah. So a really interesting thing that I came across just recently, I read this book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. You have it there. He's great.
Oh, yep.
I love,
Brilliant book.
I really, really just like his all of it. All of it's good.
No, I was just, oh, it's right here. Yeah, it was on. I'm like, I know I just read, I've got a bed here in my office. And so
Yeah.
I'll sit there and read. Yep, I've
Mhm.
got it on the bed. I'm like, I know I just read it.
Yeah, amazing. One of the things that he mentioned was a house manager. And
Mhm.
I think that uh you do a lot of that, right? Just
Exactly what we do. Yep.
yeah, you kind of create the plan, this is how it works, and then you create an standard operating procedure for the home,
Yep.
which I think is really cool. And I think that's become more and more popular as you have two working folks, right? Two
Yeah.
working parents, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's really, really interesting.
Also, like the busy professionals, when you think of like the docs and surgeons that are working, like my husband works a 12-hour day and then he's got an hour drive on either end. It's a 14-hour day. How could he possibly have any time to do anything but feed himself
Mhm.
and get dressed
Right.
and spend a little time with the family on those days?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no other time to do that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as like the top, let's say top five things that a busy professional could hand off, what do you think are the top five?
Laundry, keeping the household stocked and organized, grocery shopping. Because a lot of people do click and pick up, but
Yeah.
then they're so beyond frustration of the expired food. They don't hand select things. These are not the brands I wanted.
Right.
Oh, they give you a replacement. Oh my gosh, that's like the worst ever. It's all those complaints. So having your one person go and get all of it, that knows you and knows your favorite store and all the things that just, and then when it's brought home, it's all washed, prepped, put away. Oh, you know, um, cleaning. That's not a service we provide, but that is a huge thing that
Right.
we can manage and make sure it's done right based on the likes of the client. There's
Mhm.
nothing like coming home to having your house clean. That is my biggest treat in the whole world. I have
Yes.
it done like twice a year, like a deep clean, because I just keep up on it. I just do quickies, but man, there's nothing like a deep clean.
Right.
And then I think number 5 would be managing all the household maintenance. So, for example, yesterday I made phone calls on all the things that needed to be done and fixed in the home and
Mhm.
got it all scheduled out and lined up. I did the Google search on reviews and who's our good clients if I don't already know who's the best,
Mhm.
and just all I do is send an email. This is what I took care of. This is what you should expect. Done.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about any of it.
Yeah. From my own personal experience, that's amazing.
Is. It really is because, I was talking to the client yesterday. It's a husband and wife. We love that family so much. And I was covering for Kelly because she was on vacation with her family. And so I'll jump in and, fill in wherever I need to. And he had pulled me aside. It wasn't actually yesterday, it was another time I was over there. And he said, I cannot tell you what this service has done for our marriage. And I
Wow.
was like, can you tell me a little more? Because I would love to share
Yeah.
that story. And he's like, well, essentially, what happens is when you both are super busy professionals and the to do list is building up, it takes that weight and pressure off as the person that's supposed to take care of it. And he's like, not only can my wife add things to the list, but I can also add things to the list. So then at the end of the day, we can make a glass of wine and have dinner together and actually have quality time, go to dance lessons, whatever it is that they do together, and
Yeah.
not have the stress of the household. And I was like, what? I was like,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I wanted to capture. But it's hard to get the feeling words out to the
Yeah.
world,
So it's like, instead of having conversations at dinner on, did you call the landscaper? Did you have the HVAC looked at? Oh, there's that plumbing issue, all these different things that keep, coming up. Those things are just taken care of, and you can actually go like, where would you like to go on vacation this year? What are we going to do for, graduation, or, all the different conversations that husband and wives typically try to stuff in between, you
the
know.
passing ships in the wind.
Exactly.
That's how everybody is. It's just we're all trying to survive the crazy expensive world we live in.
Yep, exactly.
Mhm.
So I love that. And number 3, you mentioned boundaries, and that to me, I have such a people pleasing personality. I really want everybody to be happy. I want to say yes to everything. I know we are both very similar in that. Like we have, we really do have a servant's heart and want to take care of everybody, but the bandwidth, the bandwidth is the problem. So, what are some of the things that you've done to implement, or just really allow you to kind of set really good boundaries?
Well, the biggest thing that I realized this year has been a journey on looking after myself. I was having all this pain, like sciatic nerve pain down my leg. And I was like, what is going on? So I would go for massage, I would go to chiropractic, I was going to all the things, but nothing was ever really fixing it. And I was realizing everything on my schedule was just so much. My brain also was not processing, like I couldn't connect thoughts the way I was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Sleeping was an absolute joke.
Yeah.
Mm. There was just so many things happening, and physically I'm a good stuffer. So whatever it is I'm feeling, if it's pain, emotion, anything like that, I'll stuff it down deep and
Mm-hmm.
keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Grief, any of that.
Yeah.
And because I have that way of just focusing on somebody else
Yep.
and helping them.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of it, my body started falling apart.
Yeah.
And I've had, multiple surgeries, C-sections, gallbladder, appendix, uterus, like everybody has my organ. I was just like, every time I'd have those surgeries, your body's compromised,
Right.
and it doesn't come back to the way it was. And so over this time of being a mom and all of that, I realized like my core, like nothing was like strong like it used to be. And I was like, what is happening with my body? Because I'm actually, I was an athlete. I'm strong. I can do all these things. I'm used to climbing ladders and just doing everything. But
Mhm.
because I wasn't working so much in the field with the team as much anymore, and I wasn't exercising because my body was hurting,
Yes.
I was losing all this muscle
Mm.
and this strength. And
Mhm.
so, what they discovered, I just did a whole series of physical therapy. I had inflammation going on,
Mm.
and I also didn't have enough of the muscle to hold everything together, which then caused the whole sciatic. So, my whole
Wow.
hip was pushed forward because nothing was stabilized.
Wow.
So, long story short, because I wasn't looking after myself the way I should, my
Mhm.
body took a beating.
Yeah.
And so now, if I had realized back when I started business, so you're profitable, you're strong in your business, you have to take care of your physical and mental health. So,
Right.
like the mental side, what I did there was making sure I'm breathing.
Yeah.
What a
Isn't that
concept.
crazy? You know, you're like,
So whoever I'm working with on the team, like if we have team jobs, I tell them all, make sure to remind me to breathe. Like it's because I literally will just hold my breath. I
yeah.
was a competitive synchronized swimmer, so I can hold my breath forever. And so that was one. Drinking water, like
Yep.
tons of water, another. And eating really good, nutritious food without all the garbage. So, like, I pulled sugar, I pulled alcohol, I pulled bread, all the white things, flour, all the things, and it stopped the pain in my body from
Mhm.
being a 10 plus,
Right.
on the pain scale. And I was just like, now I can feel real. Now I can sleep
Yeah.
without knocking myself out with melatonin or Benadryl or something,
Right.
like, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm alive again. And I was just like, how did I do what I was doing, not feeling 100%? Like, I don't even know how I was doing it on
Right.
4 hours of sleep.
Right.
Like, what the heck?
Well, it's pure adrenaline at some point,
Yeah.
and it's pulling on all those hormones. I've learned a lot about same, like a lot of the
Yes.
same things that you've gone through. I've kind of had to start going through. I mean, I turned 50 this year. So, your body is just not the same and
I'm
it
right behind you,
does
sister.
not operate the same,
I
right?
know.
And so after 20 years of being in business,
Yep.
you know, things are not the same. Like I don't have the same stamina.
Mm-mm.
But um luckily for both of us, we have wisdom. And
Yes.
that wisdom is that, you have to really make sure that you are taking care of all of those things. And so
Well, and
I
I found people to lean into, like
right.
people that I held high in my life, like you and I meeting, a couple of times. Erica, I hired her on to
Mhm.
help me, with this whole, I was like, I think I'm in burnout. She was like sharing all these symptoms. And I was like, holy cow, I think that's me, so I bought a package and, she's been coaching me so much. And
Yeah.
let's change this in your nutrition. Let's do this, get out and walk and just cortisol.
Yeah.
Cortisol is whacked. I mean, so now that's all calmed down. She's like, get the sunshine on you in the morning. Okay. Just give me a game plan. It was
Yeah.
like, there's nothing like having someone in your corner guiding you in positive ways.
Yeah.
I've got a mastermind I'm running, and we've got accountability partners every month. So like everyone's out, we check in weekly, and just everyone guides each other and helps. What are you working on? How's it going? Like that whole that's such a huge part of business. It's not about always being out networking.
Right.
Let's go out and meet more people. Well, that's fabulous, but how is it helping you as a businesswoman journeying on this one man road? You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it makes you feel like you have an entire sisterhood village
Right.
sustaining you in the ideas and visions that we all have.
Right.
And so
Right.
that was a huge part of the boundary area. Is one year the word I chose was no. And
Yeah.
that was the most pivotal year for me.
Really.
So I did that probably 4 or 5 years ago. I
Wow.
don't work on a New Year's resolution. I work on a word. This is my
Yeah.
word.
Right.
And so when I chose no, that was when I learned how to create healthy boundaries in my life.
Interesting. I don't I don't know that I've ever had or ever heard of anyone using the word no as their
It
word
is
of the year.
it is very challenging. It's very challenging.
Imagine. How do you use your word no every time you turn around? I'm like, I feel like I have to say yes to this. I feel
Mhm.
like I have to say yes. I feel like I have to work longer hours. Like I feel like I have to make my schedule longer. I can't just leave it for every day. I feel like, it's like you constantly put these expectations on ourselves because we think that that's what other people want of you
Right.
instead of, you know, realizing that if you don't show up where you want to be, and also, what's the word? I mean, you you only want to like give what you can give 100% to, right? And so I think that that's where, you have to really start being realistic and have a coach you. And I think that,
Yes.
I love your description of
That's so
having,
dope.
yeah, you having your coach you. You're the
Yes.
coach for other people, but you have a coach. And I think that's so important. Yeah, you mentioned Erica. So it's Erica Eller, where
Mhm.
she's doing a lot of, she'll do a lot of coaching with you when it comes to health and wellness. In fact, she did one of our episodes earlier on, and I will put the link in the card below so that you guys can catch what Erica had to say. But it's amazing when you have so many people in your network, which I, consider you part of my network, but
Yeah.
you know, actually stopping and making time for relationships,
Hmm.
which is one of the things that we really, really need. And therefore, you need to have a boundary in your life so that you will, make time for those things that fill you up,
Yeah.
not just drain you. And I think that
Yeah.
that's a big, thing that we typically don't think about when we're, making our schedules. We're just trying to get things done. We're not thinking
Yeah.
about relationships.
Well, one of the biggest things, like with boundaries, that I did this year, it's taken me a long time, and I finally did it because I was afraid to cut the cord. And I finally set up a business line to my business.
Mm.
Every single call in our lives was coming into my mobile phone.
Mm.
Yeah. So I created a business line so I'm not at everybody's fingertips 24/7 anymore.
That's
That
so,
was huge. That was absolutely huge for me.
yeah, yeah.
And so it was terrifying, but I did it.
Yeah, there's a control factor, right? You feel like you have to be in control of everything in your business, but that's the thing. You cannot be present in every situation. There's just no way, we have too many clients like in that realm where I can't be at everyone's, beck and call every second of every day. Everyone has my email and I
Yeah.
will email them back, and I can set up a time to have a meeting or a discussion or whatever, but it's not going to be like that. There's just no way because there's other things that I have to do. I have to film, like we're doing this YouTube, channel. I can't call back people during the, filming for things like this. So, in order to really
Thinking
expand.
about like where we want our energy to go.
Mm.
Like when you think about, when someone asks you something and you're making that decision of the yes or no, If
Mhm.
you're not like 95 to 100% yes, I want to do this, then
Yeah.
should we be doing it?
Yeah. Don't.
Should I take every client that calls into us? No, we
No.
used to,
Yeah.
but we can't anymore. I've got to, and I want to share the love. I want to share these clients with other people in our community. We don't have to get all the clients.
Right.
Yes, I've got the largest organizing team here in Tucson. I do.
Mhm.
But I'm quite happy to share it out,
Right.
like, and recommend someone else, and be honest with the client. I'll tell them, how soon are you wanting this to happen?
Right.
We can usually do anything within 2 weeks, but the reality is we can't take everyone, you
No.
know, and we
Yeah.
may not be the fit for everyone. That's why I built a whole FAQs. I have all this stuff I've added to my website so people can get an idea of who it is we are and what we do.
Love
And
it.
so, yeah, so that took a lot of phone calls off, you
Right.
know?
Right. Right. Yeah. Figuring out how to simplify and get information out there so people can really select and
Yep.
decide if they're a good fit for you. I think that's a great use of your website. That's exactly what it should be doing. Um, So Felicia, I really want to thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation and discussion around, how to keep your sanity and grow your business. I love all the tidbits of information and you know, just really supporting the business community. I have a lot of admiration and respect for you. So it's
Yeah.
it's awesome to have you on today. So one last thing, how can you mention your website, but how can people get in touch with you to see if they are the right fit for you and if you can support them?
Oh, lovely. It's feliciasbest.com.
All right.
Yeah.
So go right to the website
Yep,
and
we've got a little contact form there and everything. You can tell us where the chaos is in your life and what side of town you're on, and then we know who to.
coordinate and
I
yeah.
always do a call with everybody first just to get the gist of what it is they need.
All right.
And then I'll go in and do an in-person project assessment. Yeah.
Love that. So you do the assessment, you check things out, and then you figure out who on your team is going to be appropriate for that work.
Yep, I do all the coaching, I do all the, measurements, pictures, videos, everything to get out to the team so then they know what they're walking into, what to expect, what challenges does this client have, mentally, physically,
Right.
professionally, whatever it is. We look at each space as not like, "Oh my gosh," we look at it as, "Okay, what can we do to help?"
Right.
So it's not like this whole judgmental process. It's what can we do? What of our hearts and bodies and minds can we put into this space to help this family or person? Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much again. And
Thank
to my
you.
viewers, if you love this type of content, you want to learn a little bit more, you want to see conversations with real people, authentic people, then please like and subscribe this video. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
Yay. Thanks, Gabby.
Thank you.
Bye.